we are going to learn 12th Physics Chapter 1 Exercise Problem Question number 11. Calculate the resultant capacitance for each of the following combination of capacitors. Find the resultant capacitance from each capacitor. Here first question, here 5 circuit they given. For the 5 circuit we need to find out the resultant capacitance. First we are going to find out the A question. Look at the figure. First we need to know the two formulas. Suppose the circuit parallel means parallel formula is equal to C1 plus C2 plus etc. Suppose the circuit series means series formula equal to 1 by C1 plus 1 by C2 plus etc. So look at the first circuit. First we are considering these two capacitors, C0 and C0 capacitor. This capacitor is parallel. It is parallel. So we are using the parallel formula. Parallel is equal to C1 plus C2. That is equal to C1 value is C0, C2 value is C0. C0 plus C0. So parallel value is C0 plus C0 to C0. Next, redraw the circuit by using this parallel value. This C0 and this C0 change into 2C0. 2C0. Now use this circuit which is series. This is series. So use the series formula. Series formula. 1 by C1 plus 1 by C2. That is equal to 1 by, we are taking C1 as C0, C2 as 2C0. C1 equal to C0 plus 1 by C2 value is 2C0. 2C0. 1 by C is equal to C0 to C0. The denominators are different. So commonly we are taking 2C0 as denominator. So 2C0 as denominator means here 2 missing. So that is 2 multiplying the numerator. Then plus 1. We are taking 2C0 as the denominator. So this 1 replace in the numerator. Here the denominator 2 missing. That 2 multiply with the numerator. 2 into 1, 2. 1 by CS is equal to 2 plus 1, 3 by 2 C0. Therefore CS is equal to, take a reciprocal. 1 by CS change into CS. Reciprocal means 3 by 2 C0 change into 2 C0 by 3. So this is the resultant capacitance for the first question. CS is equal to 2 C0 by 3. Find the resultant capacitance for the B question. First we are using this two capacitor. This two capacitor is series. So we are using series formula. It is series, so we are using series formula. 1 by CS. 1 by CS is equal to 1 by C1 plus 1 by C2. C1 value is C0, C2 value also C0. That is equal to 1 by CS is equal to C1 value is C0 plus C2 value is C0. 1 by CS is equal to, here the denominators are same. So write 1 time, add the numerator. 1 plus 1, 2. Then take the reciprocal. 1 by CS will change into CS. 2 by C0 will change into C0 by 2. So this capacitor is complete. Next we are taking this side. This also series. Again we are using the same formula, series. Look here. Here this series, C1 value is C0, C2 value also C0. This side also the same value. C1 value is C0, C2 value is C0, which is series. So we can replace the same answer for the next set. CS is equal to C0 by 2. Then by use this 2 series answer, redraw this figure. Look, instead of the C0 and C0, we got the answer C0 by 2. So here C0 by 2. Then for the C0 and C0, we got the answer C0 by 2, which is parallel. Next we are using the parallel formula. Parallel formula is Cp equal to C1 plus C2. Cp is equal to C1 plus C2. Cp is equal to C1 value is C0 by 2 and C2 value is C0 by 2. Here the denominators are same. Then add the numerator. C0 plus C0. 2C0. 2C0. 2 cancel. So the parallel value is C0. So the resultant capacitance for the question B is equal to Cp is equal to C0. In the resultant capacitance for the question C, first rearrange the circuit like this. This line arranged like this. Both circuits are same. For our answer just to be rearranged. C0, 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 which is parallel. Parallel formula Cp is equal to C1 plus C2 plus C3. Cp is equal to C1 value is C0. C2 value is C0. And C3 value is C0. Cp is equal to C0 plus C0 plus C0. Here the number 1, 1, 1. 1 plus 1 plus 1, 3. 3 C0. Resultant capacitance for the question C. Answer is Cp is equal to 3 C0. Question D. Look at this figure. Here the terminal P, Q, R, S. 4 terminal is there. First we are using the terminal P and Q. First we are using the terminal P, Q. For P, Q, rearrange the circuit. Just we are using only P, Q. So C1 and C3 in one line. Here also C1, C3 in one line. C2, C4 in one line. C2, C4 in one line. So rearrange the circuit. First we are using C1 and C3. C1 and C3 in series. So we are using the series formula. Series formula. 1 by Cs is equal to 1 by C1 plus 1 by C2. 1 by Cs is equal to 1 by C1 value is equal to C1 plus 1 by C2 value is C3. C3. 1 by Cs is equal to, here the denominators are different, cross multiply. 1 into C3, C3 plus 1 into C1, C1 divided by C1, C3. Take reciprocal. 1 by Cs will change into Cs. C3 plus C1 by C1, C3 will change into C1, C3 by, just arrange to C1 plus C3. C1 plus C3. So C1, C3 completed. We got answer. Next we are using C2 and C4. C2 and C4 are in series. Again it is series. So we are using the series formula. The same series formula. 1 by Cs is equal to 1 by C1 value is C2 plus 1 by C2 value is C4. 1 by Cs is equal to, here the denominators are different, so cross multiply. 1 into C4, C4 plus 1 into C2, C2 divided by multiply, C2, C4, C2, C4. Next line, 1 by CS, take reciprocal, CS is equal to C4 plus C2 by C2 C4. Reciprocal is C2 C4 divided by C2 C4 divided by C2 plus C4. Both are same. C4 plus C2 and C2 plus C4 both are same. Just written C2 plus C4. By using this series and this series, we are redrawing the circuit. Terminal P and Q. For C1 and C3, we got this answer. C1, C3 divided by C1 plus C3. C1 plus C3. For C2 and C4, we got this answer. C2, C4 divided by C2 plus C4. Now, these two capacitors are in parallel, so we are using the parallel formula. Parallel formula is Cp is equal to C1 plus C2. C1 value and C2 value. That is equal to, which implies Cp is equal to C1 value is C1 C3 divided by C1 plus C3 plus C2 value C2 C4 divided by C2 plus C4. Therefore, Cp is equal to, here the denominators are different. So, cross multiply. C1 C3 into this term C2 plus C4. C1 C3 into C2 plus C4 plus, again cross here, C2 C4 into C1 plus C3. C2 C4 into C1 plus C3 divided by, then multiply the denominator, C1 plus C3 into C2 plus C4. C1 plus C3 into C2 plus C4. That is equal to, this is one term, here two terms. So multiply. C1 C3 into C2 plus C1 C3 into C4. First, C1 C3 into C2 means still arranging. C1 C2 C3. C1 C2 C3 plus, next, C1 C3 into C4. C1 C3 C4. C1 C3 C4 plus, next, C2 C4 into C1. Arranging C1 C2 C4. C1 C2 C4 plus C2 C4 into C3. Arranging C2 C3 C4. C2 C3 C4 divided by the same term. C1 plus C3 into C2 plus C4. This is the value for PQ, terminal PQ. Next we are using the terminal R, S. By using the terminal R and S, rearrange the circuit. C1, C2 in one line. Here also C1, C2 in one line. C3, C4 in one line. C3, C4 in one line. First we are using C1 and C2. C1 and C2 in series. So using the series formula 1 by CS is equal to 1 by C1 plus 1 by C2. 1 by CS is equal to 1 by C1 value same C1. 1 by C2 value also same. Here the denominators are different, so cross multiply. 1 by CS is equal to 1 into C2, C2 plus 1 into C1, C1 divided by C1, C2. C1, C2 Now take reciprocal. 1 by CS will change into CS is equal to C2 plus C1 by C1 C2. Take the reciprocal. C1 C2 divided by C2 plus C1. I arranged C1 plus C2. Next we are using the capacitors C3 and C4. C3 and C4 in series. C3 and C4 in series. The same formula, 1 by CS equal to 1 by C1 plus 1 by C2. 1 by CS is equal to 1 by C1 value is C3 plus 1 by C2 value is C4. 1 by CS is equal to, here the denominators are different, so cross multiply. 1 into C4, C4 plus 1 into C3, C3 divided by C3, C4. C3, C4. Take reciprocal. 1 by CS will change. CS is equal to C4 plus C3 divided by C3, C4 will change. C3, C4 divided by, next time arranging C3 plus C4. C3 plus C4. By using this two series, again we are redraw this circuit. Here the terminal R and S. Terminal R and S. So instead of C1 and C2, we got the answer C1, C2 by C1 plus C2. Here we can write C1, C2 by C1 plus C2. Instead of C3 and C4, we got this answer. C3, C4 divided by C3 plus C4. By using this circuit, we are finding the resultant capacitance. This circuit is parallel. So, we are using the parallel formula. Parallel formula. Cp is equal to C1 plus C2. Cp is equal to C1 plus C2. Cp is equal to, the C1 value is this value. C1, C2 by C1 plus C2. C1, C2 by C1 plus C2 plus C2 value is this one. C3, C4 by C3 plus C4. C3 plus C4. That is equal to, here the denominators are different, so we are cross multiplying the terms. C1, C2 into this term, C3 plus C4. C1, C2 into C3 plus C4. In between plus, so plus. Next, C3, C4 into C1 plus C2. C3, C4 into C1 plus C2. The whole divided by, write the denominator. C1 plus C2 into C3 plus C4. C1 plus C2 into C3 plus C4. That is equal to multiply C1, C2 with C3. Next C1, C2 with C4. Multiplication. C1, C2 into C3. C1, C2, C3 plus C1, C2 into C4. C1, C2, C4. C1, C2, C4 plus the same. C3, C4 multiplied with C1 and C2. C1, C4 into C1. Just we are arranging C1, C3, C4. C1, C3, C4 plus C3, C4 into C2. That means C2, C3, C4. We are writing in order. C2, C3, C4. Divided by the same term. C1 plus C2 into C3 plus C4. This is for terminal R and S. This is the resultant capacitance of the question D. Number E, find the resultant capacitance. Rearrange the circuit. Terminal P and Q, the same line we rearranged. Look here, these two capacitors are series. So first we are choosing this two capacitor, which is series. So series formula we know. 1 by Cs is equal to 1 by C1 plus 1 by C2. 1 by Cs is equal to 1 by C1 value is C0, C2 value also C0. So 1 by C0 plus 1 by C0. 1 by Cs is equal to, here the denominators are same, so we can write the denominator as 1, then add the numerator. 1 plus 1, 2. Then take reciprocal. 1 by Cs will change into Cs. Cs is equal to 2 by C0 will change into C0 by 2. So this capacitor's value complete. Next we are taking this set. This also series. Again we are using the same series formula. 1 by Cs is equal to 1 by C1 plus 1 by C2. Look here. Here also the C1 value is C0. C2 value also C0. Same as the first set. So we can replace the same value for the second set. Cs is equal to C0 by 2. By using this two series answer, redraw this circuit. Terminal P and Q. For this C0 and C0, we got the answer C0 by 2. C0 by 2. This one C0. C0. Next, instead of the C0 and C0, again we got the same answer. C0 by 2. C0 by 2. By using this circuit, we are finding the resultant capacitance. This is series. So this is parallel. So we are using the parallel formula. Parallel formula is Cp is equal to C1 plus C2 plus C3. Cp is equal to C1 plus C2 plus C3. That is equal to C1 value is we are taking C0 by 2. C0 by 2 plus C2 value is C0. C0 plus C3 value is C0 by 2. C0 by 2. First we are calculating C0 by 2 and C0 by 2. Here in this two set of term, the 2 is common. 2 is the denominator which is common. So we are writing once. Then C0 plus C0, 2 C0, 2 C0. Then remaining plus C0. 2 cancel. Remaining C0 plus C0. Therefore, Cp is equal to C0 plus C0, 2 C0. So, resultant capacitance for the question E is 2 C0. That's all. If you like this video, please press the like button. If you not yet subscribed, please subscribe our channel. Thank you.